Hello friends and greetings for the day. Welcome back to another tutorial on our software testing bootcamp where we are learning fundamental concepts of software testing. We are talking about the chapter 3, the test types and the test levels, where we are now continuing ahead with 3.2, that is non-functional test levels, and we are giving you a quick introduction to some of the non-functional test levels here. As a part of today's tutorial, we'll be talking about one of the very different non-functional level called as portability testing. In order to talk about portability testing, given one of the quality characteristics of an application, which is also conducted in order to make sure that the system which is built is deployable as well as can be installed in a target intended environment, or even talk from the point of new installation, or it could be from moving from one particular environment to another. As the word portability completely stands for the understanding that I can port it from one particular environment to another. So generally when it comes to application development, team look forward to understand that when we start with a development environment, talk about a testing environment which could be different from each other. Finally, an application will be required to be deployed in the real-time environment, which is the exact environment where the software is intended to work. Now, this is where portability testing will be organized and conducted. In fact, a product has to be newly installed for the first time. That can also be relatively called as portability testing. To a certain extent, when it comes to migrating a particular product from one platform to another platform, or moving it from a particular OS to another OS, for example, when an operating system like Windows gets updated and you have been using an application which is meant for Windows 10, now today we are talking about Windows 11, then a lot of companies will perform portability testing to check if their product can work on Windows 11 as well. Now this is where the criticality comes, that how to test it, right? So portability is performed with different configurations and by installing it, right? That's one of the parameters which we are talking about, but it's just not limited to that. The classification of portability testing includes several sub-characteristics where we are talking about installability, adaptability, and replaceability. Now, of course, to get started, we are talking about installability testing, where it is conducted on the software and written procedures are used to install and deinstall the software or on its intended target environment. For an example, if you're talking about using an application on your smartphone, and when we release it to the Play Store or the App Store, you are going to confirm by testing it in terms of downloading it from App Store and installing it. And at the same time, if user wishes to uninstall this particular app, it should be convenient enough to deinstall. Because if it has any kind of technical issues, then the app will not be installable or deinstallable. That means uninstalling it may not be possible. That is where some of your system inbuilt applications cannot be deinstalled or uninstalled when you try to do that, because they have written the code in such a way that only installation, or maybe not even installation, is done by you, but when you try to remove these kind of applications, you may not be able to remove it because they want you to retain these applications, and that's how it is being tested through this particular sub-level called as installability testing. On the other hand, when it comes to the second attribute, which is to talk about adaptability testing. Adaptability testing basically looks forward to understand whether a given application can be adapted effectively and efficiently to function correctly in its intended target environments. Now that pretty much means that there are many other applications which are there already on the platform, and they should not be contradicting with this new particular application. For an instance, you may need, in order to run YouTube, you need a Flex player, right? A Flash player, and even to play some games, you need some supporting add-ins or some supporting platforms to run some particular applications too. But sometimes it does happen when you talk about two antiviruses, they are incompatible with each other. If you already have one antivirus on your machine, then you may not have the permissions to install the second one, which pretty much says that these two things cannot be installed at the same time in a particular environment. That means they're not compatible with each other and have some contradictions to be working together. So adaptability means that if I'm talking about a middleware, I'm talking about any kind of hardware or software configurations, including operating systems which we are deploying on, and including any kind of cloud services or add-ons or add-ins which we make use of. If in case it is not able to adapt that, any kind of extension being installed, right, that's where adaptability fails for a particular application. So subjected, you have provisions to allow adding extensions, allow adding add-ons to your applications, or even working just on a simple platform. We test it through the sub-level of portability called as adaptability testing. Finally, the third one is replaceability testing, which is pretty much simple and as easy to understand. That is, when some of the parts of your automobile or any other gadget wear and tear, that can we just remove that part and replace it with a new one. For example, if you have a dent on your door of the car or maybe any other part of your car, it does not mean that you need to sell your car and buy a new one, or they will trash your car and all you have to do is buy a new one. No, not at all. They have replaceability options where only that part will be removed from your car and new one will be deployed. That is where we say it as replaceability. So when we have our application, we also focus on the ability of software components or versions within a system to be exchanged for others. So in general, when a software upgrades or moves to the next particular version, some of the programs are removed and new programs are added. Now this particular testing will review that these kind of possibility can happen. It's not that your application is so hard-coded that you have to discard the entire application and start from scratch to build a new product altogether. So replaceability can help you to reduce your efforts in terms of testing it, and at the same time in terms of making sure that future upgrades are possible, and it has the freedom of modifying an existing product with its related components or inbuilt functions. Now that pretty much gives you the understanding of what exactly portability testing is all about. If you should look forward to understand more, you can always explore more about it. But right now, this should be enough to understand what exactly a non-functional testing is all about. With this, we just wind up with this particular chapter 2, as we wanted to give you introduction to the various test types, and we have covered that. So that's all from this particular tutorial, team. Should you have anything else, feel free to comment below. I'm always there to address your queries and answer them well. Till then, keep learning, keep exploring, keep understanding the context. Thanks for watching the video, team, and happy learning.